several years ago, I was running a weekend workshop, and one day, the first Saturday was all women, and Sunday was all men. And the Saturday was a lot of these like spiritual seeking women who, want to find out more about Tantra and sexuality. And then Sunday, this particular workshop, literally every single one of the men were just partners from the women from Saturday who basically said, if you want your relationship to last, show the fuck up. So, I enter into this room and it's like, minors and just blokey bloke guys that probably have never even been in a self-development workshop, nothing. And I'm like, all right, this is going to be interesting. I kid you not, within the first 30 minutes of that workshop, every single man in there was crying. I led them into this beautiful meditation. And I wasn't trying to do this. I wasn't like, I want to make you all cry. It was just like, I created a space that allowed all parts of them to be welcome. And when they felt that, they genuinely felt that in their bodies and their hearts, there was a letting go. And there was like, oh my God, I can take off this mask. Oh my God, I can take off this mask. Oh my God, I'm not going to get judged for this. And it was just,
I don't have to try so hard.
I don't have to try so hard. And all the guys in there, and you could watch them, they were like kind of looking around like, oh, everyone else is crying, so it must be okay. And it was beautiful. Yeah. And it was just like, that's the thing I see. And it warms my heart more than anything when I can see men come into a container, into a workshop, into life, or it doesn't have to be a workshop, but just a space where the mask can be taken off, the layers can be removed, and you can actually just see each other, and all the failure and all the success and all of that doesn't mean anything. And it's just men being men without needing to prove themselves, without needing to do anything other than just show up in their vulnerability and their rawness. Yeah. And I think that alone heals men. It also really heals humanity in many ways.
I think so. Do you see symptoms that are happening in the world? I mean, we live in a pretty fucking weird world at the moment. And there's a lot of things bubbling to the surface, that highlight a broken society and broken cultures. And, at the end of the day, humanity is just a global expression of us as individuals. So in many ways, there must be a lot of suppression. There must be a lot of traumas. There must be a lot of things going on with us as individuals for that collective to be experiencing some of the things that we were experiencing. Is that something that you relate to? Like, do you kind of look out in the world and go, oh, there's weird shit happening, with politics and all this because there's some misalignment, or the people don't really understand the sexuality? Like, is there a relationship between those things?
There is, and I'll actually speak into emotions as what I see as a direct correlation of that, because what I feel like is most suppressed in humanity is our own capacity to feel the depth of what's present. And so, when somebody gets into a car accident and they go to their doctor, and what does the doctor do? They might have all these physical body ailments, but they're generally giving them pills. And then let's say a couple months down the road, because they're not back at work, they start to feel depressed, and then they give them more pills. So instead of actually saying, hey, there's some shock in your system, you need to vibrate to your emotional body, and actually, like a dog will do or an animal does when something traumatic happens, they shake their body. So the emotional body, when it's not actively being vibrated and moved and expressed, then it starts to suppress itself in the body, and it comes in the forms of cancer, in the forms of like anger bursts. It comes in the form of all these different ailments. So what I think one of the number one issues that is existing in humanity is people not having a healthy relationship with their emotions. Yeah. There's like a feeling as though when somebody's happy, we're really happy. But when somebody's sad, it's like, let me go fix them. And a mentor.
Or numb them.
Yeah, let me go numb them. Or, if they're feeling pain, that's wrong. But if they're feeling pleasure, that's great. And, one of the frameworks that I always like to look at that a mentor of mine taught me early on is that our system, we're a bioelectric magnetic being. Like the cells of our body are positive charges and negative charges. So everything inside of this human experience is equanimous. So you cannot have happiness without sadness. You
Can't have one without the
you
other.
can't have one without the other. And yet we get fed this belief that we're going to find the white picket fence where there's more pleasure than pain. Or we're going to find that world where we're just happy all the time and there's butterflies. It's like we're sold illusion. So there's a lot of people chasing their entire life for an illusion that's never going to exist.
How did you find, because Tantra is one of the things that one of the tools that you talk about, one of the philosophies that you use in your work. How did you find that? Because it doesn't seem, for a guy who's, working on ships, doesn't seem like a usual kind of path.
Not a normal path.
Tantra.
Well, when I did what led me into my spiritual psychology master's in my early 20s, and I dove deep into the field of personal development. I was still teaching meditation on my boat, and I was very much involved with people. I was part of this book series that was people sharing short stories like, thank God I was abused, and thank God I was raped, and thank God my son died, finding gratitude for life's challenges. And I studied with great teachers and mentors, and a lot of it was all kind of maybe heart up, but all kind of, neck up, all consciousness-based, mindfulness-based practices. And I, then went back to working out at sea. I kind of got disillusioned in the self-development world. I said, these people are all joke. They're saying one thing from stage, but their lives are dictating something else. And then later on in my journey, through various different things, I found I had my sex life and I had my coaching life. Throughout all that time, I was still coaching, and after I finished my degree. And then a tantric woman came in my life, and I just felt this unification of the two. And I realized that there was a healing energy inside of sexuality. And the only discipline or lineage that I've come across that actually encapsulates the entirety of the human experience is Tantra. And there's some lineages and things that are only sexuality based and don't really deal with how to balance and equilibrate your thoughts, perceptions, and beliefs. And then, some things are only up in the brain and they don't, deal with emotions or sexuality at all. And so the field of Tantra was really the only lineage I found that could include everything. And that's really what I found for my own healing has supported me when I can step into a container or a place where all parts of me are fully welcome. My emotions, my sex, my heart, my mind, it's all on the table, and there's no stone that's going unturned.
Yeah.